Hey there, it's Phoenix and Maury. So let me basically explain something to people. I love how that doctor has come out and basically said in so many words, don't try to make me get in the boat. Because that's a huge thing that has been a problem a lot with the whole, it has a lot to do with the whole internet, social media aspect, where it's too easy for people to be like, oh yeah, we're affiliated. Whoa, time out. That's that doctor saying, used to kind of be okay with the group. Now it's become a little too kooky for that doctor, and the doctor said it. What I said, that's the whole thing we've been having to say. What I said was, so when I talk about when people try to read into your words and flip it all around, that doctor now got a reality check on what I was saying. Was like, whoa, I did not say I'm all of a sudden the Goop's doctor and all that. Who said that? Let me go ahead and shut that rumor down. This is all the stuff that's been happening with all this crazy social media stuff over and over again. And that's why I'm glad somebody wrote that article. Now, moving on forward. If people remember, I am not the type of person that wants to be fighting about stuff. I'm the type of person who does not mind open dialogue. If you recall, folks, when I put the videos out a couple of times, I had some people trolling me over and over again. Even somebody saying, that's witchcraft, sister, and just follow me around and all this, no matter what I was trying to do. So another thing where I was like, oh my gosh, again, prepped to deal with that. So fine, let me show you some other stuff spiritually for free. Now those people are probably looking back going, maybe we underestimated her. Yes, you did. So now that's done, we can get back into open dialogue, right, about what I was saying before. So when you have these clients, again, some of them have this whole thing where they're in the mindset, they're assuming they're going to get a very general reading, because naturally that's what all psychics are about. This is why before, when I told people prophetic messenger, there was a reason I said that to people, because I'm really prophetic. So when you now have people, the scientists, they were like, no, all that other stuff she picked up on, we had it right here. Guess what? Most of the time they know y'all playing now on Keen when you're calling me, because that's your only avenue to find something where you can say she's wrong, but really you called me talking some BS, okay, with a BS scenario. Now we get into open dialogue about what I said about communication cards. Don't mind sharing little tidbits, because I know what I'm talking about. If you even listen on a practical level, you can understand this, right? So the pages, when I talked about tarot, the history of tarot, right? You talk about castles, you talk about queens, kings, the knights, the messengers, all these things that are actually in the tarot deck. If you recall before on the one side when I started saying hermit would be like Moses and all that, that's very real. I was trying to explain that to people before, so now we're here. So when I talk about different forms of communication, this is where I'm talking here. I'm talking about the pages, right? In the context of the question, communication, okay, that's the thing I need people to understand. And we're going to turn these all up right, because I'm going to go into detail with this here. Pages, page of pentacles. When you think about pentacles, it's earthy, it's grass. Think about grass. How long does it take? It takes a while to grow. So this form of communication would usually be an email that's probably longer than a few little sentences. That's the thing. So when I get this and I say communication, I'm like, it's going to be an email form, okay, or significant, in length communication. That's the pentacles, because if you think about slow growth, again, the intuitive connection to all this that started blending for me. When you get familiar with a certain deck, it just flows for you if you're really actually spiritually gifted. That's the key. So page of cups is the element water, emotion. So when I get the page of cups and I'm reading on communication, it's usually a very sweet message. So this would be kind of like the I love you message, or you're my best friend, or after a fight you'd want to see this, because it just means that the communication turns very sweet again. That's the key thing. So when I talk about different types of communication, I'm really being very blunt with people. So normally this can be written or verbal, but the whole point is, that message usually is going to be very sweet in nature, or emotional in nature, positive. So page of swords, quick. When you think about swords, you think cutting. So this is usually my text message. Now, when I talked about the whole thing with tarot cards today, bringing it into the future, I'm understanding there's technology now. So you have to apply the cards to the times. Where am I going with this? When I talked about Baha'i faith and there being different messengers for the times and having to speak the language that people understood, that included slang and all kind of stuff. And that's what I was trying to break down to people. So page of wands, the type of communication would be call, because wands for me is about action. And so nowadays, because we have technology, before, if I was reading before we had cell phones where you can text so quickly, this would be different communication. Now with text and all that, if you're smart to apply it like that, I said this is a phone call. This is now an action when somebody picks a phone up and call you. Most people do Page of Pentacles or Page of Swords now. So this, I go, this is a phone call. Now, with all that being said, the elements there, right? Fire, air, water, earth. Now you bring in the ultimate communicator is the Magician for me. So if you see one of the things that's very prominent in most Magician cards in each tarot decks is the fact that you'll see 4 elements on the card. What did I just say? This is a master of those elements. If you understand what that means in respect to communication, this is somebody that would be skilled in all forms of communication. So when you have an analytical mind enough and actually have that spirit connection to God, that's why I talked about direct connection. This is what I'm talking about. So when I'm looking at tarot and applying it practically, these are all the things with that length of time that I've actually been reading, that where I'm able to say, bam, this is what this means, and piecing it together. That's what I meant when I said I'm not a tarot reader, I just use tarot. So these communication cards are different too. Strength. You notice this woman's mouth is not moving, but this lion's mouth is open, right? This woman is intuiting what is being said by this lion. You see, that's the mental connection to that lion. Even in it, as ferocious as it is, that's a woman that's understanding. So somebody else, if they saw this lion, they'd be like, oh my gosh, that lion is angry and blah, blah, blah. That's tiger, excuse me, on this. But most of the time it's a lion, just letting you know. Is angry and all that. Why is she so calm? Because she's already understanding this lion look like that, but I'm able to connect with that lion on a different level. So I'm not afraid of it because I know, okay, this is what's going on. This is what this lion is expressing. So that's key there. Now, judgment. The type of communication with judgment is heavy. If you have a fight with somebody, and I get this on communication, that's somebody that actually took the time to soul search and wants to bury that past and move forward. And that's why I always say this is the skeletons out of the closet. You want to get this. If it's been somebody who's had a history, let's say you were dating somebody who's, has some sort of an addiction or however you want to say it, and they finally gotten clean of it, and now you finally speak, and that person really owned all that, and so you're going to have the kind of clear conversation where that person, yes, I was an addict, I took some steps to fix it, I'm sorry, I'm owning it. That is the type of communication that you get with judgment. Now, a lighter version. Let's say you have an argument with somebody and you ask about communication. 3 of Cups usually means that person's going to call, or there's some communication that they're going to want to keep it light. So when I get this, and it depends on the circumstances, right? Some people may be like, well, I'm not going to talk to the person if they try to keep it light. That's your choice. That's the beautiful thing about readings, is I'm not here to say you have to talk to the person. I'm here to say this is the approach the person's going to take in their communication. They're going to try to keep it light and friendly because that's what this card means. So now that people understand where I'm like, it's not as cookie cutter as what you think it is. That is what I've been saying all this time. So having the open dialogues, this is what's been so important, and what's been missing, right, is a lot of the times people, because sometimes you have the more goth looking readers and all that, so people will judge them based on how they look, and they may be some kick butt readers, but for me, quote unquote, to look normal, whatever you want to call it, and do the readings, you're going to have people pay a little bit more attention initially to say, okay, well, let's see what she has to say about it. Now you have. So those are all the different forms of communication cards. So when I tell you, no, it's not as simple as what you think it is when somebody has those true blue spiritual gifts, now you understand. Take care.